Right, the Dazzne P2 Plus HD in its border-proof case. What else have you got in the box? A USB charging lead, lens cap. You've got two mounts that go onto the clip here, and two sticky pads to stick them onto your paragliding helmet or motorcycle helmet or whatever. One is flat for skateboards or surfboards, and the other one has got a curve to suit the curve on a motorcycle helmet. Also got the operating manual, which is in Chinese and in English, and at first glance looks very good. Right, let's get the camera out of the case and take a look. On the front here you've got a 170-degree wide angle lens, and note that the P2 Plus means that it actually is the 2K version, because there is a P2 camera as well. You've got a Wi-Fi button. Given a short press, it acts with this one to help you scroll through the menus, but give it a slightly longer press and it turns on the Wi-Fi. And you've got two LEDs here. One of them flashes red when it's charging and turns blue, and the other one shows you when the Wi-Fi is activated. On the top you've got the power on and off button. 1 second press turns it on, a couple of seconds turns it off. Shutter release, another LED and a microphone. On this end, I've taken off the cover now, this has a little cover over it. On this end you've got the HDMI, the USB charging socket, which also lets you retrieve the files to your computer, and the micro card slot. They say class 4 is okay, but in fact I'd say you're better off always using class 10. I've got a 32 gig card in here. Card isn't supplied, of course. Goes in logo side to the front. Will take up to 64 gig. Mentions a microphone there. I'm not sure if you can get an external mic. I guess so. And of course you can plug this into your TV and watch HD video on your TV. On the bottom there you've got a little speaker. You've got another LED. This end you've got the battery compartment. Comes with the battery not installed, but it's just a question of slipping it in here. As you can see, there are three little pins there, three little pins there. Just put it in so that it's right way up. Now charging time is quite long, 3 or 4 hours, so it's probably worth getting an extra battery. And of course on the back here you've got a 2-inch screen. Case has a nice feel to it, slightly rubberized feel, and slightly heavier than some of the other action cameras. The SJ Cam Elite, for example, 58 grams, this is 94 grams. It's also taller and wider than GoPro size, so as I discovered, it won't go into a GoPro or SJ Cam backpack clip. Okay, so to turn on, it's a question of press the mode button. They're very soft buttons, soft touch buttons, so it's very easy to accidentally press and start recording, especially if it was in your pocket. So shutter release here, as you can see it's flashing blue light. When you're charging this, the light flashes red. Once it's fully charged, it goes blue, and it seems to flash blue all the time when it's on standby. Just show you again, you've got LEDs all over the place with this. LED here, which I think is great, especially if you've got the camera in a case and it's on a motorcycle helmet or something, because you can just look in the mirror and see whether you're recording or not. So press the shutter release. It's counting down. You've got red light flashing there, red light flashing there, red light flashing there, and light flashing on the front. You can turn these off, as of course you can turn off the beeps as well. So that was a couple of beeps when you press record, 7 beeps when you turn it off. You can also turn down the volume of the beep. I've actually turned it down to 70 because it's very loud. So one short press of this power stroke mode button and you're into a settings menu here. Now you can see if you're quick enough to press it, you'll scroll through. So from the video icon, which is the boot mode that I've selected. I'll mention that later. You can actually select which mode it boots up in. From the video mode, short press, I'm now in camera mode. Press the shutter release, taking a still. Short press again, you're in the time-lapse mode, at the moment set at 5 seconds. Short press again, you're in playback mode. Short press again, you're in the very big settings menu. But just to go back to the video mode, which I've chosen by selecting with the shutter button, just to explain what these little icons mean, that shows I'm in video mode. You've got 3 different angles of view. That's on ultra wide. I've chosen 1080-60. It does also from 2K at 30 to 720 at 120 frames a second, and a couple of other lower resolutions. As far as the angle of view goes, I don't think there's much point in using anything other than the very widest setting, because all these cameras do when they select a narrower field of view is to crop the image, so you might as well use the whole image and crop it if you want to when you're editing. That's the amount of recording time I've got on that 32 gig card at 1080-60. I'll just wake it up again because the screensaver's just kicked in. Down in the bottom corner you've got the battery state, which says 100%. It actually drops down in 75%, 50% and 25%, so not all that easy to know when you're getting to the bottom. And then of course I've got date time there. Speaking of which, you can turn off date time on the videos and photos. Okay, so just to have a quick look at these menus, I'll probably flash through these as there's a huge range of settings. But anyway, to go through to the other things here, quick press camera, quick press time lapse. So if I press the shutter release now, it'll be taking a time lapse with a 5-second interval. Quick press again, I'm in playback mode. One little problem I've found with this is when I'm in playback mode, the only way out of it seems to be to turn the camera on and off, but that might be me just being a bit stupid. Another quick press, I'm in settings menu, so if I press the shutter button now, I'm into the settings menu. First one there is video parameters. Then you've got capture parameters, burst parameters, that's for burst photos, timer parameters, capture setup, which is another big menu, but in fact you can go through here, metering, which you can have wide, center, auto, whatever. Movie capture. Movie capture is an interesting one. If you select movie capture, it will take a still at a certain predetermined interval whilst you're recording video, so you end up with video plus a series of stills, which I've not seen before. You've got loop recording, you can use it for a car cam if you want, and it will power up when you connect the USB. Although of course it doesn't come with any accessories to do that. You can also rotate the image. Quality fine, white balance, TV out for the HDMI. Change the exposure value, change the brightness level of the screen, turn date stamp on and off. It's got gyro stabilization, which I tend to leave on. And of course, if you want to come out of that, you go to the return symbol, press the shutter release to select that one. So that was capture setup. Then you've got system parameters, which again is another huge menu. Boot mode, you can decide whether it boots up in time-lapse or whether it boots up in still or whether it boots up in video. Boot record, obviously that means it'll as soon as you turn it on it will start recording, which you would need for dashcam use. TV mode, PAL RNT, screensaver times. I'd say there are so many here that there are too many to go through unless I make a 30-minute video, but it'll all be listed in the specs down there. And software version, that does appear to be the latest version, 1.16.2015. And as you can see, the camera is just auto powered down. I've got it set on 3 minutes. Turn it back on again, Bob. Right, and as you heard, 3 beeps when you turn on. So just to get back into those settings again, as you see, I went through the modes there and then selected that particular one by using the shutter. I should say actually also this one scrolls through, but also the Wi-Fi button on the front doubles as a scrolling button, so you can scroll through up or down using either this or mode, backwards and forwards, like so. Takes a bit of getting used to, but once you're familiar with it, it's not too bad. So resolution there, I've got selected 960p, don't want that. Frames per second, 60. So I can toggle between 60 and 30. I'd choose 60. Field of view, ultra wide, middle or narrow. As I say, there's no point using anything but ultra wide as far as I'm concerned. So I'll come out of that. So I'll stick with that. Resolution, I prefer 1080 at 60. 1080 at 60. Quite a nice little icon system here, and it does tell you on the side there what you've selected as well as clicking on the icon. So toggle backwards and forwards using the mode button between those. Like I say, it does take a bit of getting used to, but no doubt if this was the only camera you owned, you'd soon get into that. So we come out of that. I've chosen 60. No, I haven't. I've chosen 30. I've chosen 60. You can either come out of that by turning off, and as you see I'm into 1080/60, or you can go to the return symbol. So what else to say? Nice screen, feels good to hold. I mentioned the Wi-Fi app. I've got a little section on that further on. Right, I think that's all I've got to say about it. So right, the Wi-Fi app comes in iOS or Android. It's just a question of scanning the QR code on the box. So as I say, I've already installed it. This is how it should work. Turn the camera on. Wi-Fi is on my phone at the moment. Press the Wi-Fi button on the front of the camera for a couple of seconds. Get the Wi-Fi symbol up. Press settings on my phone. This is already installed, so it should find it, and the password's already in. P2, that is the camera. Connect. Connected, no internet. Now with this particular phone of mine, Motorola, you've actually got to confirm that you want to connect even though there's no internet. Touch for options. No internet connection. Do you want to connect? Yes. Okay. Yes. Now you have to give it a few seconds to get its brain together. I'll come out of that and go to the app, which as I say is already installed by scanning the QR code on the box. Connect your camera. I'll give it a minute or two because it likes a little time to think about it. Connect your camera. And it's connected, and there it is, looking at the phone and looking at me, hiding behind my camera. Right, so very useful little app. You can start recording. If you can see that here in front of my camera. Maybe yes, you can see it. You can start recording with it. Hence red lights flashing in front of my camera, as you can see here. That means you can put the camera somewhere remotely, probably up to 10 or 15 meters, whatever the Wi-Fi range is, and start the camera remotely. You can change settings on this vast menu here. Frame rate, cyclic record, audio on, audio off, date stamp on or off, burst parameters, white balance, menu default, format the card, auto power off, and so on. You can change from video mode to camera mode, or time-lapse, or burst photo. And you can download the films you've made from the camera to your phone and view them, or delete them even from there. So altogether a very handy app. Also means, of course, you can review your footage while you're out and about somewhere doing an adventure sport. Very good app, really. I especially like the fact that you've got access to changing all the settings on the phone just from this. So it's rather good, really. Although it has been a bit flaky at times, but tonight it's behaving itself, and here I am in the dark looking at my phone. Maybe we should get on with looking at some clips from this little camera. This is all footage at 1080 60 frames a second with the gyro turned on. Well, as you can see, whenever I test a camera, the sky always goes black and overcast within about 20 minutes. So now you can see what it looks like when it's gone a bit dull. And looking at that sky, I think we're in for some rain. This is audio from the camera, by the way. and it's time for Captain Bob's dark pub test. Hiya. Okay, and here is a resolution test. This is 1080 at 60 frames a second. We'll check out how good the detail is on the brickwork. And this is at 2K, 30 frames a second. See what it looks like when we zoom in on both of these. We'll check out how good the detail is on the brickwork, like when we zoom in on both of these. Well, the Dazzne P2 Plus HD. Must say I was impressed with the results from this little camera from Dazzne. They're not a company that make clones. They develop and produce their own cameras, so you can expect some support and firmware updates. The original Dazzne P2 had some very good reviews. This is a step up in that it has 2K resolution and it also does 1080 at 60 frames a second. Good camera all round, I'd say. Colours were nice, the lens is nice and sharp, and the contrast was good as well when you've got bright skies and low light and so on. Comprehensive menu with loads of settings, including loop recording, although you'll notice I didn't bother to do a dash cam test because I don't really think that many people buy these to use them as dash cams, although it can fulfill that function because it's got loop recording and it will power on with the USB. Couple of small problems I had. The buttons are very light touch and it's very easy to turn it on accidentally, although if you handle it on the sides and so on, it's okay. Battery charging is pretty long, about 3 hours or so, but you can buy additional batteries and you can buy an additional battery charger that will do 2 at a time. Probably a good idea really. And the other slight problem I had was with the case. Sometimes opening and closing, this clip came off rather too easily, but it's probably me being cack-handed, but very small problem. Speaking of which, not a huge range of accessories, but as much as you need really to get started with a couple of mounts for helmets and a waterproof case. I particularly liked the flashing lights on it all over the case, top, sides and back, because even when it was in the waterproof case and I did a motorcycling test with it, it was very easy to see when it was recording and when it wasn't, plus easy to know from the beeps when you turned it on or turned it off. I also did a bit of an audio test while it was in the case and while I was motorcycling, and at some speeds you could actually get some audio through it, so I guess you could use it for motorcycle vlogging, although of course when it's in a waterproof case you don't get brilliant audio, but the audio in general was good as well. So I'd say all in all, a good little budget action camera that should give you some good results. So once again, thanks for watching and have fun.